And now I'm going to talk about adding piping to an edge. Adding piping to a pillow, to the edge of a pillow, or adding piping to your quilt binding really adds some artistic flair to it, and it's so easy with this machine. So I've just taken a piece of fabric that's 2 inches in width. I have pressed it in half, and along the fold line I've just added my cording. Now this cording is fairly small. It's about 1/8 of an inch wide. You could use any type. You could use wool. You could use the cording we sell here at my sewing room, depending on the effect you want to get. And this is just so easy to do. So with my piece that has the cording in it, I have now put my zipper foot on my machine. Now it's very important for me to move my needle over. As you can see, my needle is right here, and if I put the needle down, I'll break it. So I need to move my needle position over to here. Changing my needle position is on my menu. So if you go to your menu and you have a previous stitch in here, my previous stitch was doing the satin stitch on this machine, and it's all set for that. I need to reset it for this appropriate stitch. The easiest way to do that is to pick stitch number 1, and it zero out what I wanted, and let's go back to the stitch I would like. So I'm on the straight stitch, and you can see where my needle is now. It's right over here. I would actually like to have it right in here. So now I can do my needle width, and I can move it over. Keep in mind, I had the zigzag on here for my last one. So if I actually move my speed, it moves my needle over. Wow. So that's about exactly where I want it. So I'm going to disable this from the menu so I can show you how to use it on the menu. Back into the options. We're going to take the width control off of the speed. Close. And you can see if I touch my width here, you'll see the needle will actually move over, over, over. So again, if your machine is set up for a previous stitch and you need to do something different, the easiest thing to do is say pick stitch number 1 and then go to the stitch you want. I call it going home and then coming back. It's easier just to go back to home and then to pick up the stitch you want. So what I'm going to do for the piping is I'm going to stitch nice and close to here. And that's why I have my zipper foot on. There we go. So let's go ahead a bit. There we go. So I want to stitch not too fast on here because I want to, as you can see, my cord, I can see it right there, and I want to stitch nice and close to this. The nice thing about actually folding this in half and having my cord along the pressed line is that it will stay in that fold. Sometimes a little press will help you greatly in sewing. Never sew over a pin, always take it out. There we go. There. Now I have my cording sewn in. So this could actually be my binding. I just have it folded in half here, or I actually have 1 inch folded down. My binding will come right up where I've stitched my piping. I'm just going to pin that so it doesn't move, and then I'm going to stitch right down here. Now some people may say, well, why didn't you just do one set of stitching instead of the two? Problem with this is that if you do it one stitch instead of the two, this piping here may slip down. You want to sew it first nice and tight up against your fold, and then sew it onto. This could be a hem, this could be a cuff on a shirt, this could be a collar, or in my case, binding on your quilt. Let's get this thread behind here. Let's line this up. Take the pin out. And keep going. Yeah, now you've added beautiful piping to your binding. So that would be the fold of your binding. Your binding's 2.5 inches. Fold it in half. And it looks just beautiful. It's very, very easy to do. But the results are so worth it.